What's up?
There he is, and there she is. Oh,
Here I am.
with a
Why do I look like a guy now? Do I
uh,
still have a beard?
no, no.
COVID-19.
Yeah, yeah, your quarantine like beard looks good. No, I saw me first when I came up on camera, and so I was making sure that I actually showed up. I showed up, what, 48 minutes late? That's not too bad, huh? Yeah,
What? You're a rock star.
it's drummers time. Everybody knows that drummers are always late,
It,
and
it,
I expected that you're in Italy, so you have siesta time, right? So,
I have. Well, not siesta, but it's nighttime now as we go into what are we going into? The 10 o'clock hour?
oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah, this is where I ended up quarantine. It's so good to see you though.
Yes,
You great.
I'm so glad to see you too. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but you
Don't
know,
worry.
it,
Honestly, please. Doesn't worry me. You gave me a free drum lesson. That is worth it.
oh yeah, you get plenty to come too. And she's for those of you that don't know, Julie's an accomplished drummer as of well, all right. So yeah, the first lesson on the beach, the DR, right? And
Yeah. The first lesson, by the way, is just totally with with
yep.
the hand. And then you spoke to me and asked if I was serious. And so I told my husband, I wanted to get a drum set. And so for Memorial Day weekend, he bought me a drum set.
Oh
But in the meantime, I had my sticks that you gave me with flock of seagulls on it.
nice.
And while I was waiting for my segments on Sirius XM, because I do the radio show there, while I'm waiting in between, sometimes I'm just hitting, you know,
Really? Yeah.
yeah,
I would
just to get.
imagine that airplane ride home from the DR with your sticks. I'll bet you just drove people crazy on the airplane, huh?
I was having fun, but luckily here there's no one around with this awful disaster. Unfortunately, um, we neighbors are far away anyway. We have a nice park, so I have a lot of freedom. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to take some advice from the great Kevin Rankin
oh
and
man.
myself a set. Like it's just a beginner set, but
So,
if you see me doing well, let me know and I'll upgrade every time you think I should,
okay. Yeah.
and we'll get it done.
You've got the most important essential stuff. And so kudos to Martin for making that happen. I'm proud of him for doing that. And
Thank you.
you were actually, I mean, obviously you were serious enough about it because you had the first time we did a lesson the other day, you had all the pieces correct. You named everything properly. You had your basic drum beat that you remembered from that time so long ago on the beach. So yeah, I'm
We took the bass drum and we actually took it apart and put the pillow in there, and it sounds way better now.
oh yeah, man. Okay, that'll be tuning tips number one, and then I'll work
Okay.
with you on the snare drum next. So we'll this
Yeah,
is
everything sounds really like boom, 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 but
yeah.
at least once you get it, and if you can tell me, say, twist this a little bit higher, tighten this, or do that. I'm not too sure if I can find somebody here. Maybe I doubt it.
Yeah,
Um,
just
that
call
that
me.
could come in and tune it up. It's a shame that you can't fly over.
Oh, I can. I think my
I
passport is rocking,
have
and
two Marilyn Monroe guest rooms
oh,
in there, so.
I'm ready. Believe me, right now I'm so ready. What is Italy locked down right now? Are they not allowing people in?
Italy is it's definitely a lot stricter than the great US of A, but it's been strict from the very beginning. As
Yeah.
soon as this started, before it started, when it first got to China, of course, I completely panicked, trying to get face masks and all that good stuff, and couldn't get them anywhere. So my first one was I cut my bra top off. I don't know if you remember this from 80s in the Sands, but I had a silver bra
Uh,
top, and
I
I decided to cut it, and
I'm gonna
so that was,
pretend. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't look at your bra top in Dominican. Okay.
yeah, well, yeah, my husband's the other one, and he wears it all the time, of
Oh,
course.
of course he does. Yeah. You know what? You could actually make some serious money selling that on eBay. I'll bet. It looks
Yeah,
great.
so that's my bra, and then of course I moved up a little bit and got designer-fied.
Of course. Yeah. Yves Saint Laurent. Very nice.
And yeah, things are starting to open up slowly. We can only work in our area. So across the lake there, right behind me, I don't know if you can see the lights.
I can.
Normally we take a nice motorcycle ride or car ride and we ride around the lake and go visit some shops and have some gelato or whatever. But right now we're not allowed over the other side of the lake. We have to only one person per family allowed to go shopping.
Okay.
So it's still very strict, and of course face masks and gloves and all that good. Hey, that's if that's what it takes. I'd
Yeah.
rather than be dead. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
No, absolutely. And you found other ways to pass your quarantine time too. You've got a glass of fine Chardonnay there. Is that right? Look,
Cheers. And
cheers.
I sent you a late video. Did you get it?
I did actually posted it on because I apologize. Number one for being late, and number two,
Because you're bloody late.
oh my goodness,
My
it's
gloss came off. I didn't know what to do.
ridiculous. I would love to make an excuse for it, but
Talk to me. I saw a post that you did,
mhm.
and you were talking about people that you've interviewed and that you met me, and I was someone that you always wanted to chat to. But when I met you in Dominican Republic, it was
Mhm.
like I had known you like forever anyway, because that's how easy you are
I think there's a
to.
lot of both of us. I can tell. So kudos first to Steve Robinson for pairing us up down there. I
Yeah.
know that, and I'll be talking to Steve this week as well. So
Yes, give him my love.
I
I
will.
sent him a text because
Yeah, he is a huge Julie Brown fan, and he knows that I was too. So he brought me into Kristen Rube's room there in 80s in the Sand to come say
right.
hi. And I remember the first time we talked, you're just like you said, it felt like, you know, go back 30 years. Now, I would imagine that that happens to you quite a bit because people feel like they got to see you so much on TV that you brought a lot of your own personality out. So they felt like they knew you a lot more than you might know them. Does that happen to you a lot?
It's kind of cute because a lot of people just say, "Hey, Julie, how you doing?" It's kind of like, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" It's not a thing. But for me, it's really funny because when I see somebody like some of the artists, especially the artists in 80s in the Sand that, I would have maybe seen on MTV or, worked with on some events and stuff, but I don't ever assume that they will remember me. And I've always been really shy of meeting like famous people. I get too excited.
Really? Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I do. I mean, just to see Paul Young last time,
oh,
I mean, I couldn't talk the last time. And
wow.
I mean, because he's somebody that I grew up with.
Right.
I used to be a dancer on this show called Top of the Pops, and so we only had one live show every week in England in the very beginning and in the 80s, and everybody went through that TV show, and I used to be a dancer on it, and so every week. The pop stars would come on from Boy George to Bananarama to, like Brian Ferry. I mean, you just had so many people, and I would just be looking up from the stage, like probably dressed up in something really, really silly, similar to this evening.
No,
Uh,
no, no.
and I would just look up and I would just be like, oh my God. But then, moving to America, I kind of didn't think about England anymore. It was more going to the rock side with Guns N' Roses and Chili Peppers and, doing the MTV American stuff. And so when I do get together like the Dominican Republic or 80s in the Sand, and there's English bands that know me because of MTV, it's kind of like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, you got some cred.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, just having Paul Young bring me up on stage and,
Oh,
saying, hello, and it makes you feel good about what you did because
yeah.
it was just all about the fun. It was
You
all
know,
about the fun.
you're absolutely right. I mean, there's something about the era, right? When MTV first came out in the early 80s, music changed, right? So there was that kind of angsty punk vibe going on just prior to that. And then they went through the disco
Yeah.
phase, and that was certainly fun. But when MTV came out, it was all about uh, just expression and letting go of like the heavy weighted stuff. I was talking to some other guests about this, that right now we're seeing this lack of human interaction, this contact. And when people go to shows that are like 80s vibe, 80s in the Sand's a perfect example. It's a week-long event where people can kind of go back to the time where they didn't have to worry about politics and religion and their bills and a crappy boss and and noisy kids or anything like that.
What people were wearing, what
Right.
hairstyle they had. You could have been punk, you could have been rock, you could have been heavy metal, you could have been, a complete queen and no one would care. I mean, you're
Right.
talking about, hanging in the circles of Dead or Alive, and then coming across to Tears for Fears, who were very melodic. And then you've got, Information Society that were just like a bit wacky. But it was a time where creativity exploded.
Right.
And you couldn't count on anything. I
Right.
mean, even think like you taught me to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The 80s was not about 1 and 2. The
Right.
music may have been, but the whole genre was like, it can go from 1 to 100 in a matter of seconds. It just depended who was like screaming at you at
Right.
the time. And I think the fun thing about it is that the audience was willing to let it all in.
You're right. Yeah, I think it was an acceptance to
Ready.
just
Yeah, we were
yeah.
ready.
You
Yeah.
uh, you brought up the difference in genres too, and a lot of people associate you with sort of alternative, that shift in alternative music, and you've got your serious show, the 90s at 9, right? Uh,
90s on 9.
90s on, yeah, 9. Uh, but the I think about the kind of music that you were into. You talked about growing up in England and you were a dancer. Was there did you have a particular style of music that you were really into, or did you have a really diverse taste in music?
Well, I'm kind of like, I love anything that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Uh, So I don't know if it's a style or if it's whatever, but I started off as um, I basically wanted to get out of the house. And there was only one way to do it, and that was to sneak out. And
Okay.
at that time, sneaking out, I used to sneak out to go to nightclubs, and it was disco. So it was all disco music. I don't know if you know them, like Patti Boulay and, um, well, Donna Summer,
Oh,
all of
sure.
all of that. So I just started entering dance competitions because I needed money.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to go out, I had to have the money to get in or to travel to and from. And I just, started winning these dance competitions. And at first it was, you'd win like those colored albums.
Oh, yeah.
Different ones from, I don't know, who's it, Brothers Johnson
Oh,
or whoop whoop whoop, and you feel the force, like just
nice.
complete music. And I loved it. I loved that. And I ended up, I don't know, am I tooting my own horn? Yeah, I won a big competition. I won the world
Wait a minute.
disco
When you and I talked
competition
about this, you said you weren't a good dancer. You won the world.
because I'm actually not. And I think once you get through this interview and we get to the other side, you'll understand why, because I was not the best dancer. But it wasn't just about the competition. I won the UK championship, and then that entered me into the world, which was 32 different countries from, around the world. And I ended up winning the world championship and then traveling to every country around the world for the next couple of years. And, like a Miss World or something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I wasn't the best dancer because it wasn't just on that. It was the dance was the big show, but it was also how you were in the months ahead. You had different feats that you had to accomplish, and like interviewing people or being interviewed or being at a charity event or something. So they would see what you were like, I guess. And I guess I got lucky. I was the lucky one, and that took me into television and Dancing on Top of the Pops, which I told you about, with
Sure.
meeting other people. And then from that, I got into hosting. And
On that show, or how did you go to a different programming?
on Top of the Pops, which is the BBC,
Right.
then I got asked to host a kids program. It was a live show that went up every Friday. So that was a lot of fun. It was called Cracker Jack.
Nice.
Cracker Jack. And every time we say Cracker Jack, you have to say Cracker Jack.
Okay.
And it was basically for kids and schools, like a bunch of schools around the country would, rally to try and come and be at the filming. So
Okay.
different schools, if the kids were being really good in school and in a certain district, that school would come in. And so that was a lot of fun. And from there, I went on to Sky TV, which was the first cable music network in
Wow.
England.
Okay.
And that's where I met like Chaka Boom, which is Chaka Khan's sister, and Al Jarreau. Whitney Houston was just dropping her first album, Saving All My Love, and we sent a video, I think, to MTV that said "Merry Christmas" from us all at Sky TV, and they contacted the channel and asked if I would come over and audition
Wow.
in America.
Yeah. Do you remember your audition tape?
Yeah, yeah, I remember the audition. Yeah,
Okay.
but just all happened so fast.
Sure.
My dad, I was just like, I'm going to go. They flew me in. I can remember going to the big office in New York City. All I can remember is just like looking up and looking around. I mean, I'm from England, for heaven's sake. Seeing New York. Holy moly!
Were you in
It was
London? Sorry.
amazing. I was in London.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
I was in London, which sounds fast and fun, but compared to New York.
Right.
So I did that, and they asked me to go down to, I think it was on 11th Avenue. Yeah, I think it was on 11th Avenue, and it was Unitel Video, and they asked me to audition. So they just basically asked me to sit down and talk,
Yeah.
which by now, guys, I can do that.
But were you always really comfortable on camera, just being able to be yourself?
Comfortable on camera. That's the problem.
But you seem.
I'm comfortable when I have the mic.
Yeah.
When I have the mic and someone says to me, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then I just go on automatic, and I will just hopefully get it all right and get the job done. But never been great at interviews or interviewing people, really. I get very shy with interview.
Is it because you're afraid of making a mistake?
Yeah, because I'm not that good. I think I'm too much of a fan.
Ah, okay.
It's not be one-sided. I mean, if I love you, I love you, and I will say I love you, and you can't do that when you're interviewing.
Well, did you ever have?
You and Paul Young, and I was just like, I love you so much. That's a little weird.
So if I do that with you, this whole interview, is that going to creep you out? Sorry, Martin. But you want to, because you are so vibrant. It's really, it's amazing when you meet somebody that's got this energy about them. You gravitate towards them, right? I mean, it just, present company aside, when there are certain people that you meet in the business that I think you just feel like you want to connect with them forever. You want to be their friend, because I want to be around people like that, right? And
Well, yeah, but I think we all grow up into who we're going to be as well.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe if we had met back in the day, well, I don't know. I think I'm pretty much the same. It's just, you don't get to where you are like now, like
Right.
where I am now, without looking at some things and going and kind of fine tuning them.
You bet.
I'm not one to let anything, but in work, anything can happen, anything can go wrong, and I don't get crazy. That's one thing I don't do. I don't get myself in a tizzy. It will be what it will be, and I just know that I'm confident enough that as soon as they say 3, 2, 1, if I'll just go for it, as long as I've got my lipstick on, or I'll just do camera, because I think that the whole thing with MTV is that it was a first for everything.
Right.
It was the first time of video television being 24 hours, and it was music, and anything could happen. So we were always flying from the seat of our pants. It would be camera 1 would be on, but you'd be like, oh no, go to camera 2. You'd be able to do that, and you had that flexibility to basically, fuck around with personality,
Yeah.
and and there was nobody to tell you like that was wrong, because we were all doing everything for the first time.
It was unprecedented. You bet.
So we were very lucky. Of course, now everyone can get on, Zoom, or
Right.
you can host your own show, you can be your own chef, you can do anything. So, but it was nice to be one of the people that kind of, led the music way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I sometimes I sometimes look at hosts now and see what they do, and I go, it's cute.
Yeah. Well, I, a lot of people equate their youth, the time that they discovered music through you, and your image and the way that you presented music. Um, another person that has a similar sort of energy, a little more subdued, but somebody from that era that just really stands out to me. Alan Hunter we've done a lot of events together. And the minute I met him, I thought, I really, really love this guy, and
Cool cat.
he
He's a
is
cool cat.
such,
I just love the way you said a little bit more subdued,
yeah.
because that's just not what I would say Alan is.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
Alan is, yeah, he's seriously funny.
yes, he is.
I'd say he's seriously funny. Like, you could miss the whole funny part of it if you're not in tune. But if you get him, I mean, he's so witty, and he's
He,
so clever. He's so brilliant
he
at
is.
what, because he can be really quiet. You won't even know he's around. Then all of a sudden he'll walk up on the stage and he'll command you to be, let's have a good time right
Sure.
now. He's brilliant like that. And he knows his shit.
He
So
does. You know,
yeah.
what he got to do prior to you, but this is going to be you next, is that he actually got up with Flock of Seagulls and
Yeah,
he played a little drums on Wishing with us. Yeah. So
I did not know that.
yeah, well, he started off. So I've got this electric pad, this guy right here, and
Yeah.
there's a couple of pads that start the song off with a couple of the sound effects. I showed him how to
Okay.
do that as we were starting. So he did that. And since you've had your first lesson now, I think we need to get you coached so that when we get together again, you'll be playing with Flock. But he did it and he was excited about it. The show that he did this at, and you mentioned him being clever. We did, and I know you've done a ton of events like this. You get roped into some corporate events and some things that just seem a little odd, right? So we were at,
Especially when they're 7:30 in the morning or something.
oh, this thing was at
Well,
it was a billionaire's wife's birthday party in the Hamptons. And it felt so strange because she was much younger and had no idea who the bands were or who these MTV VJs were. But the husband, he was from the area, so he loved it. And it was mostly for him, right? But
right.
it
Of
was
course.
us and Blondie and the Romantics and Psychedelic Furs and trying to think of who else was there. This guy had this estate where he didn't have any real trees. He had made trees in his yard out of silver, like sterling silver, massive trees. And Alan and I were walking around the yard or the estate just going, this is preposterous. This is so silly. And all day long,
Scraping the tree.
I know, like, oh man, yeah, that guy, yeah, we
Poor days. I'd be like, oh.
just back the truck up and just harvest a tree for yourself. But have you had any kind of experiences like that back in the MTV days where you think, how did we even get roped into this, where it's stuck?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, we've done some things, and even on MTV, we got into some serious, dangerous water with,
Really?
yeah, like spring breaks were
Oh God, yeah.
crazy. I mean, I would dread doing spring breaks. I mean, it was. I mean, back in the day, in '86 and '87. Spring break really was exactly what it looked like on the TV. It was mayhem. And I hosted the show on MTV called Club MTV, and I
Right.
had all my beautiful girls, and of course they're all in bikinis. Their bodies are crazy. I always had this theory of, like, if I don't want to show my boobs and my ass, hire a whole bunch of
uh,
people that, oh,
your
so
posse.
I had I had these beautiful girls and sweethearts, darlings, and it was madness for them. I became very overprotective with them because there'd be a lot of grabbing and stuff, and
Mm.
the girls weren't really prepared for it. It was just like, what's going on? But spring break was also for Mardi Gras.
Oh
Oh,
God. Yeah. Tell me about
so
the,
yeah, that was pretty crazy. And yeah, then you say about these corporate places where you're sitting there and you're going, this is so weird
yeah,
to be here, but you get through it. And the corporate things, the money's so good. You say
right.
yes.
Right. Hard to say no to that for sure.
Yeah, always
Yeah.
say yes. Because, working outside of the television was basically where I ended up. We all had our different ways. Alan, Martha, Mark Goodman. Mark Goodman came from radio and into the VJ world. And so as that slowly kind of disappeared, um, my whole time while I was host, because that's what I did in England, I would always do live events in between
Oh yeah.
my daily shifts. So, even though I did MTV every day and I did Club MTV, I would also always live bookings because I came with an agent and a manager and
Oh
stuff.
really? Okay.
So I always had someone uh, working on it for me. That was just the way everybody did it back in the day. So I felt like I did a lot,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I'm so comfortable now. Is that I haven't really missed out on anything. So I'm not going, oh my God, I'm not on TV anymore. Like my life is over or something like that. It's really quite fun to pop out and do something now and again or be around a whole bunch of musicians and, not be on or not be hosting.
Not get
Um,
groped.
not get, I always wore Club MTV because I used to wear some pretty skimpy stuff.
I don't
But
remember.
and the camera would always, sort of like be like this,
Oh,
um, doing some very dangerous shots. So I always had two pairs of underwear on for
oh,
sure.
good idea.
Keep it all neat and tidy. Do you know what
Yes, I know what you mean. Absolutely, lovey. The, I, you know, you talk about this gratitude for the experiences you had and being comfortable with that. Yesterday, my guest, Jana Lopez, has a book and a podcast about identity shift, right? So as you come through this phase in your life where something changes and all of a sudden the identity that you personified changes and how you cope with that, right? So the Downtown Julie Brown was a brand, right? From that era, from like mid 80s through early 90s. Downtown Julie Brown represented music on TV and a style, because you've always had this really unique style too. It's really classy and sophisticated, but also playful.
like fun, just go for it kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. We still, to this day, I bet if we looked at your shoes right now, I bet you've got the funkiest shoes on, right? Because am I right?
No, I have
Yeah. See what I'm talking about? Those are not the shoes that I'm wearing right now. But like, you always had the coolest
you
shoes.
have to see my shoes. No one asks to see your shoes on Zoom.
I know, but see, that's this is the difference with the heavy metal thing. But no, you always have cool shoes. Doesn't matter if you're.
I like to dress up. I like to have fun with clothes. That hasn't changed. I still like to kind of wear whatever I want, do whatever I want, and be funky and be fun. I think it sort of like leaves you open to be a little bit more approachable as
Ah,
well.
you really
And one
are.
thing I'm, I don't know, it's the kind of person that you are.
Yeah.
Never thought of myself as yeah. And even though I wore tight dresses and things up to here and that, I didn't think about it being sexy, if you know what I mean. It wasn't done to like, whoa, 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 look at me,
Right.
I'm sexy, hot, or whatever. It was just done because, hey, that was the fashion.
Yeah.
It was fun to wear, and we're having a good time. So um, I think that's part of the Downtown Julie Brown wardrobe
It
thing.
was, you're expressive. That's the thing. But there was
Experiment experimental, that's for sure.
Experiment, but you don't feel like there was ever an identity crisis and a shift for you or a midlife thing where you thought, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm different now. How do I adjust?
No, I I don't I don't think so. I mean, I've heard through passing, like I could be sitting at a table or, having dinner or something with my husband, and you'll hear someone go, "Oh, she used to be on MTV or something," or "She's a has been," or
Oh,
you hear things like that. But does it hurt? No, because here's the thing: better to have had than never to have had at all. And that's
absolutely.
been my philosophy in life of going, I've been so lucky. I look at the people that I've met, look at the things that I've done. I mean, I'm a girl. I come from a family of 6. I'm an Air Force brat, and I just started disco dancing, and here I am, like, talking to you.
Oh, well,
because because you saw some of the work that I've done through the years,
mm,
and you were happy to have me on as a guest, and so I say to
yeah.
them.
Y- I rarely think of this as a guest, or a show or anything like that. To me, the people that I've met that have been inspiring and have really influenced me in a way that um, is that I gravitate towards is something that I want to hang on to. And the pandemic, the sort of quarantine, helped me realize that life was really chaotic before. It was really hard for me to slow down and take time for those people that I really appreciate. And at the same time, I was like you say you're shy, but I love people, right? And so I gravitate towards people all the time. If I'm out at a show, everyone would become my friend because I just really like people.
Right.
But I missed
Well,
it.
yeah, it's but here's the thing, it's like when you're on all the time, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not
Mhm.
saying it's a bad thing. Like for instance, when we're doing 80s in the sand or something like that, we're booked for a week, and everybody's come there to see everybody, and so you put that week in your head that I could never be that kind of person to say I'm on the beach, leave me alone,
Right.
you know because you're there to enjoy and you're there to be there for everybody, and so that's nice. But this quarantine period has been an eye opener, a feeling opener, I think, to go, oh my gosh, I do miss
Hmm.
so and I do miss this. And whoa, yeah, I don't have these things anymore, but I have so much more of the other things.
Yeah.
Like, just being able to stop your brain from thinking, oh, well, I better get dressed up. If I was in LA right
Hmm.
now, it wouldn't matter. If I went out the house, I would definitely make an effort
Mm.
to make it. It's I've been here and I just been in my sweats and but with sequin tops,
I was
please,
getting, of course, and in funky shoes.
and funky shoes. But it's just been really nice um, to relax.
Hmm.
It's been really nice to let your heart be the way that it wants to be and not feel sorry for yourself.
Hmm.
When things aren't going your way, or maybe I was up for a job and I didn't get it. And, I had so much time to go, well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Now you just go, oh my gosh, there are so many people that have, been in so much pain
Right.
that it's really nice to actually feel that. It's really nice to feel bad in a way about for everybody that's going on, because I think that's something that you miss when you're always
Yep.
going and going and going. You're just like, it's just natural to be concentrated on yourself.
Right.
So not
Gosh.
saying anything at all good about this COVID-19 situation at all, even though it does bring out all these different emotions. And I wish it never ever happened. And but in the same light, I just hope that we get through this as we do,
Yeah.
be able to get back. One thing for sure, music really, really, really helps. And human beings like yourself who reach out and are there, you know, to chat, to be with, to reminisce without any strings or anything
Right.
attached for anything, but for us to get together and say, hey, you know what, let's hold on to this friendship because
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Ah,
And
that's
when I met you in the Dominican Republic, and my husband feels the same way, absolutely adores you. And
he's
but you're so bloody talented as well.
you know, it's amazing you say that. Let me tell you, you're so healthy. You know, really. I mean, you're like emotionally. I see a lot of people really struggling right now, right? I mean, people are coming apart at the seams because everything's on its side economically, and people are really nervous about health and all that. You've got like some wisdom, and I love it's encouraging, right? Because you are a voice for a lot of people about appreciating the things that you have. Not
Right.
you're not, it's not making light of the struggles that people are having, but it's great that you can say, let's take this horrible situation and let's do something constructive with it, right? I mean, you're aside from just sitting by the side of the lake, you know, like you've had this passion, you've had a desire to play drums, right? It's a blessing that you've got a partner that is supportive and supported you with drums and also encourages you. I think you guys are such a neat couple together. You know, you really are.
Thank you.
It's
But um, you know, you said to me back in the Dominican Republic, Julia, I'll give you a drum lesson. I was like, do you think he really will? Do you think he really will? And I was watching you play all the time there. And I know it seems light and in fun there, but when you're into something so much and just like watching you play, you're just like,
oh man, thank
we
you.
had to play drums. And so and then you came to the beach and you were
Yeah,
on time then.
I was.
Yeah.
I
Um,
usually am.
yeah, but it's so wonderful to be um present
Mm,
uh, now, especially during these times. It's just to be there. You don't get to this position or where you are right now and without going through a lot of things in your life. I mean, we've all gone through the heartache and the pain and but it's what you choose to do with it. And I've always said that anything that's gone wrong in my life, as long as I didn't cause it,
yeah.
even if it's hard to get through, I'll make it, because as long as I didn't cause it. So, but I'm always conscious about trying not to cause something that could cause somebody else to have a bad time. I prefer them to have a good time. Um, like I missed my daughter's wedding. My daughter was supposed
Oh,
to get married here, a beautiful Italian garden wedding. It's supposed to be next week. Is it next week? June 6th. And
oh wow.
yeah, so we had to cancel that, but she got married anyway in
Oh,
Florida. A wedding for two, and it was
nice.
a beautiful wedding. But you know, sort of like COVID-19 took that away from me, and I've told her, I'm like, please don't get pregnant. I mean, miss fine, but you know, if I miss you being pregnant, that would just drive me crazy. So I just want you to know, if you can you see all the little flies going around? Because I just want you to know, I did shower. It's just you and it's attracting a lot of flies, but
No
not me.
problem. I,
It's not
you're by the
me.
lake. Now, I want to back up for a second. You said, as long as it's something that I didn't cause, has there ever been a time where you sort of, okay, I try to avoid talking about regrets because
Yeah, regret.
I personally, like there are things that I wish I'd done differently, but I try to learn from those things. So I don't want to go down that road. But was there a big mistake that you felt like you made that was costly that it took you a while to sort of recover from?
No, I think sort of weekly or daily, there's some things that I'll do in the day that I'll go, oh, didn't need to do that, or I didn't need to say that. Um, but nothing that would be, no, I think for the most of the time when I moved from England, I was relationship wise, I was with somebody that came with me from England for my MTV trip. And you know, sort of in England, there's a lot of me's, there's a lot of Julies or Jills or Jane or Carols, you know, normal names. And of course, when you come to America, um, especially if you go to LA, then there's Buttercup and Cookie and Sunshine and
Right.
you know, Barbie. And so those kind of names caught my ex-fiance's attention. So
Oh
he,
no.
he went with the pretty names. And then basically in New York, I was, even though I was with somebody, I lived alone, and I had a great time with that. But there's, you know, of course, as a girl or a guy or anybody that's been in love, there's you know, the heartache of being with somebody and then not being with somebody, and
Yeah.
what do I do? But I've always, you know, I've always been working, for one. And I've always just said to myself, I've always tried to be as best as I can. And if I've fallen short of not being what they want, then that's, it's not my problem.
God, and you were in-
It's not my problem. And it's just like, but then again, I always took care of myself anyway. I mean, I had my own house, I had my own, you know, career, and I always sort of like looked after myself. I made sure. I'm a Virgo. So
yeah.
the most important thing for me is to have everything in check. I will pay my bills, I will pay my car, I will pay my house and stuff, so that, because I wouldn't want to be stuck in that position where I owed
Yeah.
somebody something.
What healthy lessons, honestly. You could have you written a book?
No, I don't want to write a book. Here's the thing about writing a book, or here's the thing about doing a tell. I mean, I've had lots of offers to do a tell-all, or you
Yeah.
know, do a doc. Yeah, everything that you say. Of course, now everybody doesn't just want, you know, a crash. They want the whole train wreck and sort of like how it started from A to B. So not interested in that. Not interested in airing my dirty laundry in public. Plus, you know, you move on, and some people that I met, you know, 30 years ago and stuff like that are in a completely different position now. They're
Sure.
married with kids and stuff like that. So I find it very uncomfortable, you know, if you're going to turn around and go, well, I dated so and so, or we did this. You know, respect. I wouldn't like my husband, somebody to say something about me and my husband kind of hear that, not because, you know, it was, I'm embarrassed,
Yeah.
just we've moved on. I've got a kid, you know, she's
Sure.
27 now, and you know,
27. Wow.
it's done.
Oh
It's
yeah. I
done is done.
I
And I
wasn't
have
thinking about a tell-all. I know you had fun. And you know, that's great that you've got those chapters for your own book, right? For your own memory banks. But I was thinking more about you're so centered. You know, you're so grounded in really, really good space. And where I talked about people kind of coming apart at the seams right now, there are a lot of friends of mine that I see that they were really together prior to a lot of what's going on right now. And then, you know, the political environment is really chaotic, right? And uh, the world,
madness.
the world is madness. I mean, really. And so those people that I saw that were really centered all of a sudden seem frayed. And that's social media. A lot of that is just social media kind of coming out.
Definitely. I
But
mean, we get to hear, and we get to hear and fear
right. Yeah.
so
But
much things that normally you know wouldn't come across your desk. And especially now in this time, with us all being at home and with us all being on the phones or on the internet, it's just it's just going at a pace that is just it's really not healthy.
not at all. You're right.
And if I could, you know, I suggest like switching the phone off. I mean,
Yeah.
I radio show every day, and in the morning I get the latest news.
Okay.
Not that I use any of it because it's all awful. Um, and then I put my phone down, and that's it.
That's
I'm
your
done.
ritual.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't need it. I don't
Hmm.
need text. I don't need to be called. I don't need five girlfriends to go, oh my God, my roots have grown out. Or so. It's like I, I've got my Beverly Hills blondies that are all looking a little bit like punk rockers right now.
Yeah.
They've got black roots and blonde hair, and you know, probably frowns now. No
Is
Botox
right.
available.
Isn't that a blessing from, I mean, honestly, if you're going to look at the pros of what's gone on, is that we all have that same situation, right? So if heaven forbid those Beverly Hills blondies can't get their Botox and they start looking like everybody else in the world, right? But
Yeah, it's been that way for a lot of people. But you don't need all that.
right. Now, when I was talking about the book, I was thinking about the healthy mindset that you've got, right? And it doesn't have to be a self-help book or anything like that, because I'm not a fan of that either. I love authenticity and reality. Um, my friend Janine that helped kind of touch you up in the Dominican Republic, she was doing makeup there, and she is another one of those friends that I love her spirit. She really focuses on the positive and is able to discard the things that are negative. So those external forces, you talk about checking your mail for 5 minutes in the morning or your news. I stopped looking at the news years ago. I mean, unfortunately, positive or negative, I know that if there's something really important for me to find out about it, I'll get to it. Somebody will get it to me. But too much of it's out of my control, right? And it was, it was anxiety driving. And I have two kids, 18 and 21, that I look at watching the news all the time, and they see corruption and environmental impact and stuff that the only thing that they can really change about that is the way they vote or the way they interact and be active, right? And other than that, you can't live your life in fear, but you also don't want to be, just sort of manipulated by the media forcing you in this is negative, chaotic thing. And you've got such a zen state about you.
I like dinner parties, and they always say at dinner parties, never talk about sex or politics.
Right. Did they say
I
that
mean,
about sex?
okay.
I blow that.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got another couple there and stuff like that, or if you've got 8 people, I don't know, it's off the table for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
but in politics, and I've never ever. Sometimes it's difficult because when I do the show every day, and you hear something, um, you'll have people that are listening on the radio that will be like, we don't want to hear about the news.
Mhm.
We're already consumed with it. We just want to hear the 90 hits. And then at the same time, you don't want to feel like you're an airhead without any feeling
Right.
whatsoever when something dire happens. Like, I think we got a memo saying, don't talk about COVID-19, or I was just like, but it's a huge elephant in the
Right.
room. I
Right.
mean, maybe not talk about it, preach about it, but I think we should be okay to say, hey, we're here and we're in it.
Yeah.
And you know, then there's that side of things also, Kevin, where I'm lucky. I do a radio show, so I still have my job
Yeah.
every
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And there are people out there lost. My daughter lost her job. Her husband lost her job. They're, newlyweds, just got into a new apartment, freaking out.
Hmm.
I can't get to America to be with them. We can't say come here and just relax for
Right.
a few months, because now they have responsibilities. And I think a lot of people are going through that. A lot of young people are going through that. Um, and so I think when you cannot help, you cannot help. I'm not a billion trillionaire and I can't do all this for everyone. I think it's just best to stick in your lane and do what you do. And that's what I try and do with the music. I
You
just try
do.
and roll the hits and bring it to you, and try and keep, a positive attitude, a
Yeah.
positive life out there, just in case you're not getting it from somebody else.
Yeah. You
Me
totally do.
up in Twitterland at DTJB. I'm there for you.
It's medicine for sure, man. It is cathartic. And I,
Make a spoon of me.
yeah, uh, that was a good pitch right there. I like that.
Thank
We
you.
can just loop that. Your buddy Lenny Kravitz, you've been tracking, doing drum lessons, and Kravitz,
Yeah,
do you remember the song that I was just having you kind of check out drum wise, but Let Love Rule.
yeah.
Love
Let-
Rule. I mean, that,
And yeah, that's it. I'm lucky. I'm a girl that's loved by. I mean, and I feel it so much. My husband loves me a lot.
yeah, he does. He does. How long have you guys been married?
Guy, we got married in 2001. So what is it? 19 years.
Yeah, nice.
years,
Was
yeah.
that was back in you were in California then?
I was in California. He was in California. We were at a fantastic place called the Sunset Room
Okay.
there with my beautiful blonde girlfriend. And I was going into a fashion show, and he was in the restaurant. I think they were sitting with famous people like
Hmm.
Stallone and all that. It was like one of those restaurants. And the owner was a friend of mine from back in the MTV days. And also obviously he was a friend of my husband, and my husband asked the owner to come and ask me to join them. And
Good man,
then
Martin.
yeah, and then it was Cristal and Perrier Jouet from there.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh
Good
god,
man. So the men watching. All right. So here's the trick to.
I think men watching are fine. I think back in the day we all had our crushes, but I think they'll be happy that to know that I'm married and happy.
No, no. Yeah, I was just telling them. Here's the trick, right? So you make sure that you're hanging out with Sly Stallone in a ritzy Beverly Hills. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. No, most people would be
Yeah, but
so.
those are the days to hang out. Come on.
Yeah,
Hang out with Sly, or that was my husband. That's not me. My husband's in the
right.
movie business. So that's him, sort of like Don Johnson and all them. They'd be hanging around with them. They're not, they're not my friends. They're my husband's associates. So I don't claim them because he's in the movie producing business. But DJ Don Johnson was at my wedding, though.
Was he very like? Well, you've got a good handful of musical, friends as well. I mean, I think a lot of people, like I said, they gravitate towards you because there's one thing to have the allure of your TV persona, but you're so bubbly and smart and fun. So, like, do you have any like people that initially maybe were intimidating, but then just became really besides me? No, do you have any friends that you've made that were just back, like
I just I don't claim anybody because everything was work. So I don't
yeah.
claim anyone as my friend. I don't go around saying, "Oh, I'm friends with them and friends with them." Because to be honest with you, I'm really not. I mean, if I go out somewhere and we see someone in the room, it's very cordial, acknowledgement, which is fun. Like I was so excited to see Jodie Watley
Oh yeah.
because I first met Shalimar in London, and it was Jeffrey Daniels who's also in Shalimar with Howard Hewitt. It was Jeffrey Daniels that taught me how to do, because he's a fantastic choreographer. Jeffrey Daniels from Shalimar, he's the one with the
Yeah.
big afro. He did Michael Jackson's Bad video and stuff
Oh
like that.
wow.
He's a brilliant choreographer and dancer and musician and singer. And he taught me I had to do a solo piece to New Edition's Candy Girl, you are
Oh,
my girl.
you
You look so sweet.
you got the
You,
moves. Do you remember the whole
yeah,
dance moves? You want to show those off right here?
I can't because I've got these
Oh,
little.
right. That's right.
I remember having bright yellow shoes on and a big bright yellow ribbon in my hair. And he was just like, okay, why don't you do this? And he actually taught me how to do the moonwalk. So that was Jeffrey
Really?
Dahmer. So that was back in the Top of Pops day. Jodie Watley was there. And a lot of the times between 1982 and through the MTV days, maybe the 90s, a lot of people used to get Jodie Watley and myself
Oh,
mixed up, like at airports and stuff like that. They'd be like, Jodie, I love you. Can you sign this? You see, and sometimes I didn't have the heart. They'd be so insistent. I didn't have the heart to go, no, I'm not Jodie. I'd be like, oh, okay.
you signed as Jody.
Because you couldn't get away. I'd just be like, JW, I don't know. I'm like, because I'd say it's not me, and they would be like, oh, you're lying. It is
Right.
you. Also, sometimes I have no idea because she's absolutely drop dead, gorgeous, stunning. But Sade, they would sometimes, I guess, because of the accent,
Ah,
think I was Sade. If you're traveling, you've got your
sure.
beanie on and
Yeah.
your stuff. You're not really made up, so you could be anyone. But it was fun sometimes to get mistaken as Scary Spice, especially
Oh.
because then I'd get lots of free drinks at the bar. I'd be
Oh
like,
my.
"What you want? What you really, really want?"
That's
And a free drink. So that was fun. But for the most part, a lot of people kind of knew it was just me.
You have,
Jeffrey Daniels, Jodie Watley, Howard Hewitt, who is the lead singer of Shalimar.
mhm.
So all those guys that I knew, and he sang at my wedding for me.
Oh, really? What did he sing?
He sang "For the Lover in You, with this ring I'll always be true."
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
You have such a like a fun fairy tale story. You really do.
I
It's
don't have a lot of friends, like, like a lot of musician friends. They're just people I know that I mean, I still like being an admirer.
yeah,
I think it's a, a lot more fun to be able to still be in awe of people. Taylor Dane is a very good friend of mine, has been since her first big red lips, like big
right.
hair, like to my heart. And speaking of spiritual, that girl is, I mean, she's taught me more than a million things,
Really.
and sat down, and she's very, very in touch with everything. Yeah, so probably I can contribute a lot of my calmness to being friends with TD. Yeah.
You know, I think that sort of change, and I don't know how much you were like that before, but if Taylor influenced you that way, there are a good handful of people that have been that for me, and I'm so grateful, right? Because there's a calmness and a serenity that you sort of have after kind of letting go of a lot, and
Yeah.
and just feeling like you're okay with
Do you
being
have
here.
to let go of a lot?
I'm sorry,
Did you have to let go of a lot?
a lot, absolutely, you bet.
Really?
In the last
I
year.
don't know that side of you yet, but I will catch up on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, no, when you were on MTV, I was still with my childhood sweetheart. I was married almost 30 years, and I was with my wife since we were 12. And she's still my best friend, but we divorced a few years ago, just before I met you. And
I'm really-
letting go of some of that was tricky, and then went right into a relationship that was a learning lesson. And so I learned a lot about myself in the last 3 years that have led me to where I'm at today. But I felt like I had to be all things. I felt like I had to have control over the world and be the perfect dad and be the best drummer and be the best everything, and realized it was tough for me to be cool with where I am today. And there is a sense of serenity that comes with being able to just know I'm right where I need to be. And it sounds like you've got a great handle on. I mean,
Still in the relationship then?
I'm sorry.
Are you still in that
Nope.
relationship?
Nope.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you probably went into it way too fast
I did.
anyway.
I did.
Not saying that it was a bad thing or anything, because anything that gets you to where you are right now on that mic with the headphones, with
Oh,
your beat, with your purple t-shirt
yeah. I-
hanging out is something that propels you.
Yeah. Those are the chapters in my book, right? My own book. Yeah. No, I needed to figure out who I was, right? And the identity thing that we talked about, finding
You
out
will be a completely different person for years.
it's just really nice to just be okay with where I am and not who I am, right? And that's a tricky thing that I don't know that I would have come to that if COVID hadn't really forced me to be home and thinking about it, but I'm so grateful to be here with my kids, and I'm sorry that you're not able to have your daughter there, but look at who
Yeah.
I get to hang out with right here. This, even through the computer and through this microphone, you are in Italy, 9 hours ahead of me instead of 8. Oh my goodness.
Flies everywhere.
God,
Um,
I don't see the flies, but I
well,
miss, I miss
say,
the lake behind you.
I'm being very honest with you. It's just like, I don't know. Well, maybe being where you are now, was it because you know, when did we see each other? It was 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Was,
Yeah.
was it
Yep.
2 years?
2 years.
You look, you look really good. So
Thank you. Thank you. Good.
that, that's good. Keep taking the dog to the park.
Oh man, my
Get
pug,
out
I've got a great pug, and he keeps me sane and zen too. But I think and I try not to future trip too much, right? So I don't try to
well,
hop
you can
back and forth.
right now anyway.
But I really am looking forward to October. We're gonna be we'll do a post birthday celebration for you.
Yeah, if October is up and running.
Right.
So,
Well,
you
we're
know, I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I just know that I'm not going to go anywhere if there's a danger that I've got to be quarantined for 2 weeks somewhere
right.
else. So
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'd rather stick to the rules,
Yeah.
do the gloves, do the face mask, sanitize, stay safe, um, until at least they've got a vaccine for this
Yeah.
thing.
And once that passes, then whether we meet in Cancun or not, let's plan a time for you and me and Martin get
Okay.
together. Let's just express serenity, gratitude. I love your humility. You're so humble too, and that's
We can do a nice Italian dinner.
let's do that, and then follow up drum lesson.
Candles and be romantic.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I look forward to it right there on the
Yeah,
patio. The
yeah.
I can't wait to
Well,
see.
hopefully you'll be able to get here for real. That
Yeah.
invitation stands um Mia Casa Su Casa. You can come
Oh.
anytime you want to. It's um I mean, like I told you before, if I was, talented in that way where I was a songwriter or, could do anything like that, this would be like the ideal place to
Mm,
come. And so I've had a few musicians come on over and hang out and just really just let them go. I go, look, you can put your bags in the bedroom, go wherever you want, even if you want to get a train ride to go to Verona or Venezia or something, just go, it's fine. Just, feel it. And I think that's the important thing. At first, when I first got here, I was so petrified because I was just like, all my friends are in America, all my girlfriends, and I kind of like had heart palpitations of going, I'm going to miss them very much. But then I see how blessed I was to
mm.
be here and not in my place in Los Angeles, in tight quarters on the beach with everything closed up. And I just go, oh, we're all going to be, for those who have been struggling and having a horrible time, I'm sorry and I pray for you all. But for everyone that I know so far, thank God, everything has been good.
Mm.
And so we're all going to be fine. And
Yeah.
by us being fine, then we can help those who aren't in the long run later down the line. But right now we're all in the same boat. So we just
Yeah.
row the positive stream to wherever it takes us, and hopefully there'll be a rainbow at
I
the end
love
of
it. I love it. I love that you're rowing right up front. I'll have you as the captain of my ship any day.
the
Beautiful. Julie,
Thank
you
you.
are just a beautiful human being. I really, I'm,
To like hug you and then
I know. Martin can hug you for me and hug him back. God, you guys are,
he always hugs me.
yeah, I would hope so, especially right now. Man, hugs are so, we take them for granted, but
God, no, I'm so lucky. So definitely been having fun in the garden, doing new things because of course I know you got to go, but I was preparing for the wedding.
right.
So we had right in front of here, we had a whole bunch of trees. So I had them all chopped down so that we had
Oh,
a whole complete lake view and made a walkway and made a new road that goes through the park so that we could drive. And of course the wedding didn't happen. So
you know,
um, that's what we're doing, and we'll use it next time.
here's what I'm going to propose. Okay. Another hat, another identity I have is um, I'm an ordained reverend, and I would love to offer services so that anytime you want to have somebody get married at your park there, then I would
I
love to.
Martin,
There you go.
aren't I a minister? I'm a
Yes,
doctor of what is it? Metaphysics.
there we go. So we can both let's just we'll have a different hat that we can wear.
Wedding.
Yep. Let's just
Everything I've got. Yeah, I can do weddings,
let's
and
do this.
I didn't do her wedding. It was actually going to be a surprise that I was going to do her wedding. She had no idea.
Oh
We
my
set it
goodness.
all up that because she thought it was going to be an Italian person.
And
Just the
day
one.
of, you were just going to step in.
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
definitely do it. I was just like,
surprise.
you're not going to have this day without me. telling you what to do,
That's
what
right.
to
Oh my God. That is beautiful. She's your only child?
Yeah, we've only
What?
got one, thank gosh. And don't think of me as a bad mom, but I am glad. I mean, I said to my husband, I said, whew, at 21, I'm out.
Yeah.
For I'm out. I need a bottle of vodka, and I'm out. As soon as she's 21. Of course, it took until she was 20, 25, but
Before
that's
she
okay.
was out?
Well, before I could close both eyes at
Right.
night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a tricky thing.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. You have a son and a daughter?
I have two boys, 21 and
Yes.
18. Yeah.
Fantastic.
God,
Well, trust me,
I,
I think mums will tell you. The girls, hey, some mums have great time with their girls, but I can tell you, I thought she was going to kill me. I thought I was going to die, I should say. It was the hardest work I've ever done. So I probably think that's probably the proudest thing that my daughter actually survived.
well, you know what? I was thinking about the first thing you said about using dance and going out to the clubs to get out of your house.
Mm.
Did you have a real strict family since
Yeah.
dad was an Air Force? You
Oh
said,
God.
yeah.
Yeah. But I have three brothers. I have two brothers older than me and two sisters older than me.
Okay.
And so I kind of was the mistake. There was a gap, and then I was, from the milkmen, whatever that was.
Right.
Um, and so basically, they were busy getting into trouble all the time. I would watch; they would get into trouble. The strict would get, and I kind of went unnoticed. By that time, with four kids playing havoc, and also being the only black family on the camp.
Oh,
Probably, my dad was very, we had to be really in line because we couldn't, that was the last thing he wanted. And plus, being an Air Force brat, anything you did would go on your father's record.
right.
So if
Yeah.
the kids got into trouble, your dad would be penalized for it. So we were all very careful about that. And I've got a younger sister, but I kind of just went under the radar. I never wanted to get into trouble. I was always petrified of getting into trouble, so I always made sure that I didn't.
Yeah.
And I would just, I missed it. I missed everything just by a hair, but
Mm.
getting over the edge got me to MTV and all the good stuff. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I only asked because I'm wondering if were you a real strict parent?
Well, I was a Julie parent. I mean, when I started having problems with my teenage daughter, I got the books and I was just like, oh my God, read it. And I got through page 3, I think, of one self-help book. And I just said, well, I've been doing everything all wrong for my entire life. So I threw that book away and I
Was
just
that
thought,
was that Love and Logic?
yeah, it's just basically, it's back to, Julie's street smart. No mother can tell you what to do or how to do it right.
Right.
You've got to do it your way because it's your home, it's your world, it's your shoulders, it's your heart and soul, and you have to be okay with everything that you do.
Right.
So I will do it my way. I wasn't going to say, oh, I'll blame someone else. You told me to do this. I was just like, it was my way, and I just hoped that the highway would help her survive and become a nice young lady. But no, those were not easy years. But no one knew.
Right.
It wasn't like, and I think that support system is not there either for any parent. It's just like when the kids are going through teenage years, it's kind of a given. Oh, you're going to have hell for a
Right.
few years, and there's no support system.
Right.
So, when you're walking along a beach, crying your eyes out, because you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? I just felt like I can't go to anybody and ask anyone, what do I do next? Because guess what? Apparently, everybody goes through it, but there should be a support system for it because I think we very much all need, no matter how comfortable or how settled we are, or how well we have it. We all need to share emotions,
Mm, boy,
and I think that's the most important thing now. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're rich or not rich, or you're working or you're not working. You know, we have these emotions that sometimes we'd love to share, or just get a hug, or sit down and have a laugh and forget about it with
right.
somebody. So yeah, don't be alone.
That's the
Not,
key right now.
yeah.
That's I I really appreciate you sharing, the inside about parenting is such a tricky thing. It's hard. It's never ever easy for anyone. Yeah.
Tricky.
Well, I say that because there are other, adjectives I'd like to use, like, but
Right,
uh,
that's a good one.
I it's never ever an easy road. And you said a lot about luck. You mentioned this a bunch about your life, when we talked about luck. And I vacillate back and forth a lot about, is it luck? Is it fortune? Because so many of our experiences, we've put ourselves there, right? And
Right,
um, with the situation that you had, you talked about getting lucky to get to MTV through Top of the Pops, and
right.
and being able to sort of maybe unintentionally, like, kind of sneak out of the house to get yourself away from the chaos, or
Right.
the strict. But um, you talked also about the experiences your daughter was missing out on, having a big family wedding, but maybe she's really lucky that she had to overcome some of this adversity right now, and where plans didn't work out the way she expected, where she's got this doting mom that wanted to do everything to make her wedding absolutely perfect. But when perfect doesn't work out because the world has the plans,
Right.
and she's figured out a way to get through this thing and still love each other, just because,
Yeah.
she couldn't do this in Italy, but she was able to do it in Florida. And
Yeah. She got
what's
it, right?
what's your daughter's name?
Gianna.
Gianna. All right,
Yeah.
Gianna, I'm going to say this from someone who absolutely adores your mom. I'm sorry that the wedding didn't work out the way you had hoped it would, and the way that your mom had hoped it would, because that's even more important for us right now, is that
It's basically my wedding. Yeah.
right, right. But how fortunate are you to have such a beautiful, amazing family that cares about you so much that when you get back to Italy, and did you lose me?
No, can you hear the background?
Oh, he's rocking. Is that at your house?
I think it's. I think he might be out with his.
Oh, he's got flock going. Okay, let's see it. Are you drumming Iran?
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, I just lost my gig. Oh man, I'm fired. Look at oh, you got it. Oh yes.
No instruments in the time.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
That was my husband saying, "Yo, yo, yo, Kevin,"
That is awesome.
and here he is.
Oh, hey Martin, how you doing, buddy?
Oh,
Oh, that was fantastic. Oh, was this the cane to say we're done?
Well,
no.
no.
Oh yeah.
That was the first warning.
I felt serenaded. Thank you so much. Look at this,
You're
you
welcome.
guys.
We wanted to give you. We wanted to give back
Oh,
to
the
you.
hug. Oh my God. Man, I want to screenshot this because look at this beautiful. I feel like I'm hugging the both of you right now.
Well,
I
you are. You're with us.
ah
We love you. Hubby
God.
loves you, and we can't wait to be together with you. Hopefully,
And
we
by
can.
the way, she's improved so much
I
on drums.
yeah.
No,
Well,
no, she can do the double kick on the bass.
okay.
I
I mean,
did.
it is really good.
It was
Let
really fun because I was just like, they're my drums. They're
yeah.
my drums.
You've
And
got
then I went upstairs to do some work and I could hear.
Oh no.
And so I'm just like, what is that noise? And then I looked down and he was
Wow.
just like, you see, you don't understand. He's very calm and stuff like that. But secretly, he's very competitive with me.
Oh,
So, oh, I've got it. And he's like, she got it. He will work up such a sweat just to get to where I am. So trust me, tomorrow he'll be double bass hitting it tomorrow.
Martin, should I tell her? Should I let her in on our secret?
What did
Julie,
you do?
after our lesson the other day, Martin reached out to me, and we've been doing lessons every other day since. No.
Well, not really.
No, not really.
Really, just an hour or so.
Right. Yeah. While you're sleeping.
Excited. Both.
You're going to be having you'll have two sets next to each other before you.
No, he already kind of tuned me in on the Muller theory thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got it.
You know
Yeah.
about that?
Oh my
You know
goodness.
thing?
How do you know about the Muller technique?
You told me.
Oh my goodness. Look.
You fucking surf the internet, you lose. See what he does?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I got my snare stick, I got the up and down and low.
Oh, you're full of poo-poo.
Oh man.
So I'm on my Muller, and
Why-
she's doing double,
why are you-
double tap
Why
bass.
are you shouting?
Oh,
Darling, you know I made you a match. It's called the Gucci
oh, that is so good.
Shut up.
match.
Oh
Exactly.
my God, you guys are beautiful. I love you.
You know, we'll have fun. Hopefully we'll see you in Cancun.
Yeah, and if not, we'll see each other soon. But let's. I'm gonna. I cross my.
Come on over.
I would love to. I'm like. You think I'm joking, but I'm there.
No, we've got kayaks and we've got the little rowboats and we've got like another boat too. You can water ski. We can go out on the boat and go to a restaurant in the middle of the lake on one of the islands. Is
You
there
can go to islands. You can go to islands to friggin' restaurants.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Friggin'.
Friggin'. You can swear as much as you want. This is not a kid's show.
No, is friggin' swearing?
No, you can you can
no.
go. You can drop F-bombs, all the F-bombs you want.
He doesn't really swear.
No,
He
I don't
Nah.
swear.
He's
No.
classy.
Hey,
It
the
doesn't suit
other
him.
F word. But friggin' is not swearing.
You
Not at
can say
all.
okay.
Man, I gotta tell you, this is like a beautiful family picture right here. I want to frame this. Can I use this as a little promotional for
Sure.
let's plan a drum lesson this next week.
Okay, we're gonna do a drum lesson for real.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do live drum lesson. You can share with the rest of the world your lesson.
Perfect.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Well, I'm a beginner, so.
She's not at the
Don't
Muller
know
yet.
if
She's not at the Muller yet.
Oh.
Right. She's halfway to Martin's level. You know what? I was really proud of us getting all the way through this conversation without even speaking about wubba wubba wubba. I think we did it.
There you go.
Doesn't
I'm
you know?
This right now is a wubba wubba moment.
This
And
really
that's
is.
what it means. It means that when something's not going my way, just go wubba wubba wubba, because it would stop me saying fuck. Because you couldn't
Oh
say
my.
that ever, so I would just say wubba wubba wubba,
Oh my
and then
God.
the director would know that there was something wrong. I'd
Off
like-
the rails.
And then it became a thing, so we'd always say it.
It's a cool thing. I love it. Martin has that tattooed on his back. I like that. So
Yeah.
I'll see you, my friend.
What do you have on your back? Muller or
Muller?
Muller?
Muller.
The Muller technique.
The
He
Muller
has yes dear tattooed on his back, I think. Right?
He's gonna have you show off. I can't believe you must have gone into the internet and gone like, oh my god,
That's-
easy drummer words to say.
Right.
Drumming words to say.
Oh my God, he is so good.
Say to another drummer. I mean, he's a very smart guy.
He is a clever man. Well, for him to land Julie Brown is a good thing.
Okay.
So let's raise a glass to Martin and your wonderful relationship. Thank you.
Eyes on this. I can't drink from it now.
That's good. Those aren't COVID flies. You're good.
Inside.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we'll celebrate by splashing over the lake.
I
with
love
some
it.
wine and saying, "Come and join us."
Grazie. Thank you so
Alright,
much.
Grazie, ci vediamo dopo.
Oh.
Prossima settimana una lezione. Sì?
See.
Okay.
I love you. Thank you so much. You're wonderful. I will catch you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Ciao.
Good night, hun.
Good night. Are you staying on or going bye-bye?
I'm going bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No.
Buonanotte.
Buonanotte. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. I'll see you, kiddo.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.